Alrighty, we're going to try this again. My internet, something happened and it said that my server was not connected. So we're going to try this one more time and hopefully this will work. My name is Julie Brown. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and welcome. This is my Tuesday Night Lives where I am going to walk you through how to stamp and create a couple of cards. So real quick, let's get the housekeeping out of the way. If you're going to be placing an order with me this month, please use the following hostess code. You can order through me at juliebrown.stampinup.net. My email is juliescreativestamping@gmail.com. My Pinterest, Facebook, and Instagram accounts are Julie's Creative Stamping. My YouTube channel, you have to type in juliebrown.juliescreativestamping. And then I do have a blog. It is under construction. So basically the only part of it's basically a website. And the only part of my website that is working right now is the blog at juliescreativestamping.com. But I did hear from a couple people that said that when they type that in, it's taking them to a weird page. So I will be checking on that after I get off of this tonight. So let's look at what we're going to be working with tonight. It is the Vintage Christmas stamp set, and we're going to bring in some friends for our second stamp. But it can be found on page 63 of the mini catalog. And again, just to remind you guys, you can type in the comments and let me know you're here. And that is also how you ask any questions, is by typing in the comments. So let's see if we can get going here. I'm just checking to see if I am live. Okay, it looks like I'm live, but it does say that they're having troubles playing the video. So hopefully it won't be sketchy for you guys and I'll be able to get done with this tonight. And if nothing else, I'll get it uploaded to YouTube. So you can always check it out on YouTube. All right. So for our first card, it is going to be a simple stamping card. You guys know I like to start with simple stamping cards. And we are going to bring in the long vintage bottle. And I do want to, oh goodness. I do want to point out to you that there is a punch that matches this stamp set, but it actually also coordinates with Bottled Happiness from the annual catalog. So the stamp can do double duty for you, which is the punch. What am I saying? I don't even know what I'm saying, huh? Craziness. All right, so let's go ahead and ink this up. So we're going to ink this up in crumb cake. And then I'm just going to try to position this so that it's fairly centered. All right. I think I might have gone a little bit high on that one, but that's okay. It'll all work out in the end, right, guys? So let's see what we've got going here. Okay, it still looks like it's having problems live to Facebook, so hopefully you guys will check me out on YouTube. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to bring in this leaf stamp, and we're going to stamp this a couple of times above the bottle. And this one gets a little bit tricky because you're trying to place it in such a manner so that you can stamp the flowers, but you also want it to cover your stamp. So what I do is I go ahead and I stamp to the right first, then I'm going to bring in the flower stamp with Cherry Cobbler, and this was Mossy Meadow. And I'm going to try to line up my flowers to that leaf stamp set. And it's going to be kind of low down on the bottle. This is just how I have found it easiest to get the leaves on here, because I wanted more than just these leaves. So I want to bring in another set of leaves. And so that's why I did this first, because then what I can do is I can kind of come in, and we're going to be overlapping here in the middle, but it makes it fit to that side as well. So then I've got the leaves all the way around. Now you'll notice that this leaf didn't go all the way to the center. And so I'm just going to bring in one of my Stampin' Right markers. And I'm just going to basically extend that bottom right there. Same with this one. Just going to extend that bottom. And you can do the same thing with all of these up here. Is you can just kind of extend that bottom so that it touches those flowers. So that's kind of a really quick and easy fix on that. Just to make sure that it's touching all of it. So let me bring that closer and show you what I did. All right, so there we go. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do, well, is clean my stamp sets, clean my stamps. And because this is called Vintage Christmas, I decided for my simple stamping card that we were going to make this a vintage card. Yay! So there's another little bottle, and it's kind of the same pattern, but it's shorter. And so I'm just going to take this one, and I am just going to bring this in at different places on this paper. And again, you know, I don't have any rhyme or reason for how I'm doing this. I'm just kind of sticking it where I think it's going to look kind of cool. And you'll see I'm stamping off. I'm not getting all of it onto the page. But I'm just going to be, like I said, just bringing it in different little sections of this to get that vintage feel and look. All right, so there's that second shorter, smaller bottle. Then what I'm going to do is I am going to bring in, we have this little, it's like berries with a pine leaf, and so I'm gonna ink that up with Mossy Meadow. And again, I'm just gonna stick this in a few places where I think it's gonna look good. Now remember, part of the vintage look is like stamping over the top, and you'll see me do that in a little bit. So it is okay if you overlap some of this stuff, because that kind of gives that old vintage, like postage stamp type look when you're doing stuff like this. Alrighty. Okay, so let me clean this one. And then this one, I'm going to bring in the Cherry Cobbler Stampin' Right marker, and we're going to color in all of these little berries. And I want to do that before I continue stamping. So we are going to... So I don't know if the server was messed up on my computer or in Facebook, but unfortunately it looks like this won't be streaming on Facebook. But again, luckily for all of you, it will be on YouTube. As soon as I finish this, it takes me a little bit to get it all downloaded, but it will be downloaded and playing on YouTube. All right, so I just filled in those little berries. And again, let me bring it a little closer so you can see the look so far. So then what I'm going to do is come in with some soft suede. Now this particular, so you're going to see this actually fills in the flowers, plus it adds pine cones. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to use soft suede. And then I have to get this lined up right. So give me a hot second here. All right, so then and I know you can't see because it went into but it did put the pine cones, but it put the center of those flowers in. Now what I'm going to do is clean this off, and then I'm just going to use this big pine cone on this stamp set. And we're going to fill in with some, oh, actually, before I do that, sorry, we have this really cute, super cute little scallop circle that says Happy Holidays. So we're going to ink that up in Cherry Cobbler. And I'm going to be stamping off. So I'm going to put it in dark, and then I'm going to come in, I'm going to stamp right again with a lighter color. And that's what we call either stamping up or second generation stamping. So you may hear that said in a couple of different ways. Both of them are the correct way of saying it. And so remember how I said I'm going to kind of go over and stamp onto some of the stuff that's already stamped on here. And so that's what we're doing here. So I'm just going to try to come in and let's see, what do I want to do? I think that actually works for me. I'm kind of feeling like maybe I need another one down here, but I want to stamp that one off. But see, now that made that, see what happens is it got it kind of like messed up for me. So now I gotta put another one in there. Okay. Alrighty. So there's that little fun stamp. And I'm gonna try to check my Facebook again and see if it's gonna talk to it. So it looks like maybe it's working. We'll see. So I do apologize for, oh, nope, still saying we're having trouble. Well, that's kind of a huge bummer, but we will get this on my YouTube. Okay, so now I'm going to do this biggest pine cone, and I'm just going to ink up that pine cone, not the other ones. And then I'm going to just take this pine cone, and we're going to just stick it. Ah, I must have inked up more that time. Did not mean to do that. So you got to be careful just to get the tip of that pine cone. I wasn't paying attention and I got some, oop, I did it again. I got to make sure I don't go up that high. I just want that pine cone. I have to keep telling myself because I keep messing it up. So I can add one right there. Add one there. Add one here. Definitely going to need one right there. And add one there. So I think what I may do, since I kind of got some ink on that one, is just kind of come in and put pine cones like that on the bottle. All right. So there we go. So now what I'm going to do is I want to, again, make this look very vintagey. And the way that I know how to do that is to like blend the edges. So I am going to shut up a couple of these to get them out of the way. So, oh, I don't get my hands in them like I just did. And I am going to bring in, and I am going to just start off, and then I'm just going to take that crumb cake and I am just going to blend that in all the way around these edges. And the nice thing about these blending brushes is that when you do this, you can come back and make this darker if you want to. So my rule of thumb is to kind of go around, or even if you're trying to fill in a whole sheet, I do kind of my first layer, and then I come in with other layers. I think I have people texting me telling me, hey, you're not online. I am aware of that, and I do apologize. Okay, so that just kind of gives it a more vintage kind of look. And you could get the middle, but I kind of wanted to leave the very vanilla alone in the middle. All right, and so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this onto a piece of soft suede. Yeah, not really quite sure what happened with that feed. Let me kind of go back and look at my feed. Well, it says it's working right, but something's not right because I'm not seeing it on my Facebook page. So, all right, so then I'm going to bring this in and just get it centered on this piece right here. Then I'm going to bring in another piece of Very Vanilla, and we're going to stamp onto this one. So we're going to come in with that Happy Holidays stamp set. And let me see if I can kind of get this somewhat centered. Okay, so we're going to come in with that one, clean it off. Then I'm going to come in with those little berry leaves if I can find it. Oh, I always do that. I think I have stuff right where I need it, and then invariably I move it and I can't find it. Okay, so now we're going to come in with these, the little pine needles that have the berries on the end. And we're going to come in there and come in like so. And then on this side, we're going to kind of do the opposite as far as these two. But we're still going to come in this bottom edge over here. All right, so let's clean that stamp off. And then we're going to bring back in that Stampin' Right marker, the cherry cobbler, and we're going to color in those berries. So you can see when I do use the brush tip, even though it's a little tiny space, because I'm basically just kind of having to make a little circle to color that in. And I'll bring this closer for you in just a hot second, so you'll be able to see that. All right. There you go. And then what I'm going to do is I am just going to place this on here, and I'm going to be centering it top and bottom, but it does go all the way to the edge. So these two pieces, this one's a little bit bigger, but they're both, I believe, 4 inches in width. Ooh. Oh no, I was leaving that cherry cobbler open for a reason. Okay, so then again, I'm just going to get my top and bottom, get this kind of centered between those two, and then just kind of lay that down like so. All right, and then we're ready to put this onto the front of the card. Again, you guys can see that, you know, when I do simple stamping, I really do enjoy kind of creating my own background. All right, so we're going to bring this in, and we're going to bring it about right there. And we're just going to lay that down. I'm going to try to lift it up so I can make sure it looks straight. Okay, so there's the front of your card. Now again, I'm just demonstrating simple stamping. So what that means is that I'm not going to be adding embellishments or ribbon or anything, but obviously you could do that very easily with this card, and it would look super, super cute. Oh, nope, I still need that. Okay, so for the inside of the card, I actually already stamped it, and I just wanted to show you how I did that at this bottom corner. And I'm going to bring in the sentiment, one of the sentiments from this set, and it says "Making Spirits Bright." So we're going to ink that up with cherry cobbler. And here's the trick to see if I can get this straight. Yay! I always get excited when I stamp straight. So sorry, I need to go ahead and write something on here for everybody. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to let them know that I'm going to be posting this on YouTube later. So bear with me. And then let me post that. Says press enter to post, but yeah, it's definitely a computer issue, I do believe. So I do, oh, I was able to post to this, so yay. All right. The video that's not working. Okay, so again, we're going to do the same thing with this one. We're going to bring in that crumb cake, and we're going to go around these edges. Like so. And we're just making this look more vintage. This is, I don't know why that makes it, I guess it just makes the paper look a little time worn, you know, not so crisp in the color. And so by adding just a little bit of this blending on these edges, that's what helps you get the vintage look when you're looking for like a vintage look on your card. Just a little tip for y'all there. All right. So now we're going to take this one and we are going to put this on the inside of the card. And then we are going to be done with card number 1. Woohoo! And thanks for being patient with me while I typed in that little note for anyone who was trying to see this on my Facebook channel. But there you go. All right. So there's the front of it. And there's the inside. I hope you guys like it. I just think this was such a cute little card. Okay, so instead of doing 3 cards tonight, I did kind of an extensive, this last card is a little kind of over the top, and it's more avid, like really avid. So I decided just to do 2 to try to stay within my 1-hour time frame, because this one's going to take a little bit of work to get done. So what we're going to do is we are going to start with, it's got lots of pieces. We're going to start with an evening evergreen piece. And then I am going to come in with a piece of basic white, and we're going to lay that down on the card front. Yeah, we got lots of pieces to this one, so this one may take me a little bit of time to get it all put together. So that's why I thought, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to have time for the casual one. But as I'm building this Avid card, what I want you guys to do is look at where there might be a stopping point for you to make this more casual than Avid. Because the only difference between Avid and casual is how much stuff you just keep adding. So we're going to bring in the punch that I talked about earlier. Now, this is the part that's really important, and probably the hardest part is to try to get this on here so that it is straight and it's also even on both sides. That's probably the hardest, because you kind of have to eyeball it. So what I'm trying to look at is that I have as much space on this side as I do this side. And what I do is I squeeze this shut just a little bit, and it tends to like hold that paper in place. All right, so then I'm going to cut that out. And I can use this later because it's really super cute. And then I'm going to bring in one of the vintage bottle shaker domes. There's like, I think there's like 10 in here, if I remember correct. This writing is so small I can't see it, but I'm pretty sure usually these domes, whether we get, you know, round ones, whatever shape they are, we usually get about 10 per box. So this has adhesive on the front and on the back. And so we're going to start with the front, and we're going to peel this off the front. I think I've got, oh, my take your pick tool. I'm working on some Christmas cards on my other table, so I have some of my tools over there. Then I'm just going to lay this down. Now I pulled that protective coating off, so now it's very sticky, and we're just going to lay that in like so. All right, and see how it's in there. Now normally what I do is I will like put the filler for the shaker card, and then I'll lay this down. But because of the type of filler that I'm using, it moves a lot. So we're going to be putting and using these effervescent elements, because I kind of felt like it made it look like it was bubbles, like, you know, like almost like champagne bubbles. Now I have absconded with one of my grandkids' little play spoons, and that's what I use for how I pick this up. So we're just going to lay that in there like so. That's kind of what I use as a guide to how much to put in these shaker domes. Sometimes if the shaker domes are a little bit bigger, I will add 2. Now the trick to this was I couldn't lay that stuff down here because it was rolling all over the place. So I had to find a way to add it here so that it wouldn't, these little pieces wouldn't just take off and roll. So now I'm going to remove this backing, and I am going to be bringing in a piece of the red glimmer paper, and I am just going to take this and lay that onto that. Now I can kind of flip it over and lay it down and rub it so that this gets a good hold onto that glimmer paper. And then look, we've got, it looks kind of like, you know, the color of the liquid that you would have in there. And I guess that could be red wine, that could be red soda, it could be whatever you want it to be. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to bring my Stampin' Seal Plus. Whoops. Now this is a little bit difficult because I'm trying, actually what I'm going to do for this bottom part is bring in my liquid glue, because it is really hard to try to get your Stampin' Seal to like run smoothly on this because of the dome that's underneath it. So we're just going to add some liquid glue just to kind of help hold that also. And then we're just going to flip this over, and it is going to lay onto this piece right here. Okay, I'm trying to get that centered. All right, so then that's what it looks like so far. Now I went ahead and I stamped some flowers. I stamped a bunch of leaves, but then I also stamped an entire like scene with those flowers. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this in and I'm going to set this right here. But I'm only going to put glue in this middle part here because I'm going to need to be able to pick this up and move it. I'm sorry, not move it, but actually I can do this part now. So basically what I'm going to do is I used vellum, and I used the, oh shoot, I knew I was going to forget this. It's the, oh, what's it called? The tags. The, I thought I had it sitting here, but I don't see the set sitting here now. I'm a hot mess tonight, ladies. Okay, it's this set. It's the designer tag dies, and I use this one right here from this. And so, you know, you guys know how I'm always talking to you about how I do dry runs, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to need this to kind of be like underneath here, right? And I think I may go ahead and cut some of this away just because I'm really not liking quite that much white. So I think I'm going to go ahead and come all the way down. And this is kind of the stuff that happens as you're designing. You know, you start laying things out and then you're like, you know, I actually don't want to see that much white. So I'm going to go in there and I'm going to take that out of these like center pieces here and make, you know, a little bit less white. And it's not so much just the white, but I wanted to be able to see more of like this fun piece here. Okay, so now I can, okay, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some liquid glue and just put some little spots on this bottom section that's going to be underneath this, right? So it's going to sit like so. All right. Then I'm going to say, okay, I need another one of these pieces of vellum. And I know that I want one to kind of come way out here. Now, sometimes what I will do is, because I don't want to mess with trying to get so much of it up and underneath there, I'll go ahead and like trim off this bottom section. And then I'm just going to kind of put that glue right across that section right there. And then that just kind of helps me to like fit this without having to get way up underneath. And especially if you've already glued like this center part, then you would definitely want to be trimming like I just did with that last piece. All right. And then I definitely want one that's going to kind of come off on this section over here. So again, I can go ahead and put this whole section on there because I've got plenty of room coming out this way. So we're just going to slide that on up underneath there. And that's going to fit like so. And then I'm going to put probably one more over here. And then I'm going to put some fillers in, and then I may put some more of these. And you'll see what I'm, so like this is one I'm going to go ahead and trim, because I don't want to deal with those little long little pieces. And it'll help me just be able to fit that right up underneath there without having to go up too high. Okay, so now I'm actually ready to glue most of this down. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to come in. Oh, you know what? Let me get you a little bit closer. There we go. So you can kind of see what I'm doing. So, and part of that kind of already glued. So I'm going to actually come in and kind of stay. I got up on that one side, but I'm going to leave this other side up a little bit. And then I'm just going to fit that down there and lay that down. Alrighty. So then what I decided I wanted to do was, and I'm already telling I want some more of these. So I do have some more of that vellum, which I'll probably end up cutting into some pieces. But then what I did is like I said, I had already cut some of these, like I stamped these leaves and then I cut them out. And I'm going to show you why I did that. So like, for instance, I kind of want to add one like right there. But I may not want to add a full one, or I may want a smaller one. So I'm just going to kind of look at what I have here. And so like maybe this piece would be really good to kind of cover that section right there. So I'm going to just go ahead and bring in my liquid glue. And we're going to lay that down right there. And then I'm going to kind of look over here and say, you know what, I want to kind of bring that one in where it's kind of behind. So we're going to put that one behind. But see how when you cut these apart, it gives you a lot more versatility on how you can design how this looks. And so like this one, I'm wondering if I would just want kind of that little piece. I think I do. So I'm actually gonna like cut these apart and just kind of add some glue right there and stick this little one right there. So there we go. All right. So now what I want to do is I want to bring some up and I want to kind of pop some up. So I'm going to come in with my mini dimensionals and we're going to pop some of these little pieces up. And again, I'm just going to kind of do, you know, a dry run because I believe I want one popped up kind of in this area, or do I? Or do I just want to pop up right over the top of one that's already there? Yeah, let's try that first. So I'm just kind of basically covering the exact image that's already there. So I'm going to add my dimensionals, my mini dimensionals, and then I'm just going to come in and even go a little bit closer to that flower, and then this one's going to be popped up. Right? Makes it kind of fun. All right, and then I'm going to kind of go like with this one right here. We're going to bring it in a little bit lower and pop this one up as well. So again, I'm just bringing in a dimensional. Oh, you guys can't see what I'm doing. Sorry. Here's my mini dimensionals. I forgot I had you guys a little too close. All right, so I'm just taking these dimensionals, and then this one I'm just going to kind of lower it, like, you know, so that you can still see the one from behind it. But again, it's giving dimension because it's popping it up. And then I have another one that I can kind of add between those two, which is a bigger one. So, you know, sometimes I'll cut quite a few pieces out. Like I'm going to have this little extra one, and I'm probably really not going to need that one. All right, and so now we're going to bring this down kind of in this area and pop that one up. All right. So again, that just kind of gives it some dimension, but I'm not real, like I've still got a space up here that I kind of want to fill. And so I think what I'm going to do is kind of look at bringing in maybe even like just a little bit of this. So I'm going to do some surgery here. And I'm just going to kind of cut this so that the leaves look cool. You guys, sometimes we have to do surgery. Oops, who knew? All right, so now I'm going to kind of see how I want that. Do I want it more this way? Do I want to join it right there? Because that seemed kind of a little bare right there. So I'm actually going to like flip my take your pick tool. And because I've got some glue under here, I'm just going to kind of real easy push underneath there and lift a little bit so that I can get this squeezed up underneath there. We're going to add a little bit of glue, and then we're going to bring that in. All right. And then I'm going to kind of look at this side, and I don't need like a big one, but I think I need like this top little section. So I'm going to just cut that off and kind of do the same thing with that little spatula in, just kind of go in, and well, that's kind of lifted, so that's good. And then we're just going to bring in this glue, and we're just going to kind of lift this up and shove that up underneath there. Now, you know, you don't have to make it as flowery as I did, but isn't that cool so far? We're not even done yet. All right. So then I thought, you know what? I want to pop up one of the flowers as well. Sorry that someone's interrupting me here. I thought I had it on Do Not Disturb. So I want to take this one and I want to end up popping this one up. So I'm going to just take this and cut this out of this little section here. And then I'm going to add a couple of the mini dimensionals up. Let's switch that out. I need my pokey side back. And we're just going to add a couple dimensionals here. Oopsie. And then I'm just going to lay that directly over that one. So again, it gives me a little bit of pop. See how when you just kind of pop some up, it gives dimension. Not dementia, dimension. Oh my goodness. Okay. So now I need to find what I did with my rhinestone jewels, which I thought were sitting right here. Oh, they are. Okay, so now what I want to do for these rhinestone jewels is I want to color them in. And so I am going to bring in, sorry, let me close these up so they don't get dried out on the end. I am going to bring in the dark soft succulent blend, and I am going to color a big one, a medium, and a small. And I'm going to let those dry for just a quick bit while I go grab some ribbon that I forgot to grab earlier. So watch that dry for me. Let me know when it's dry. Trick question, right? Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my putty end. And just so you know, putty continues to grow. So the thing about these take your pick tools is you really only want to turn it just a bit. And then this is the hardest part, be patient. And I don't know if you guys can see that, but it starts to come out. Then if you feel like enough's not coming out, just one more turn. Like I'm not turning it a bunch. You're just trying to get a little bit to come out of that top. Because what happens if you just keep turning, this thing just keeps like basically kind of throwing up as it comes out. All right, so then I'm just going to pick up that jewel and it's going to go in the middle of that flower. Our medium jewel is going to go in the middle of that flower. And our little tiny baby jewel is going to go in the middle of that baby flower. Then I can just stick my lid back on. So then what I wanted to do was, I think it needs to go this way. So I'm going to come back in with that Making Spirits Bright stamp, and we're going to bring in some real red ink. And we are going to ink this up. And we are going to stamp this a little ways down, like so. And then what we're going to do is clean the stamp. Oh, had you guys going there for a bit, didn't I? So I'm going to clean that stamp. Then I'm going to bring in my paper snips, and I am going to cut this the opposite direction of that first cut that I made. Then I'm going to use a mini glue dot. This is so crazy. I had all this stuff sitting here, and then, isn't that crazy? And then you kind of clean up and you end up moving everything. So I'm going to bring this mini glue dot down a little bit because I'm going to be using another one. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to catch just the tip of this making, actually I need to trim that just a bit. That's I stamped down just a little too far. So I'm going to trim that. And I'm going to just catch that edge like so. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to tie a bow, and I'm going to, again, here's my bow maker. And so for those of you that need another lesson, I'm going to be doing a small bow, so I'm going to be working with these two legs. So I leave a little bit here, and then I may not have cut enough ribbon. This is going to be a really tight bow. So then I'm going to wrap it around, and I'm going to go through the center of those two legs. Yeah, I don't know if I have enough to tie this. We'll see. And then bring it up. I don't. Sorry, I've got to go get a little more ribbon. That's the first time I've ever measured wrong. What? That's crazy. That's what happens when I'm trying to be chintzy, because, you know, sometimes, like now, I'll have a lot of extra. I try not to have a lot of extra ribbon. Okay, so again, we're going to wrap it around those two legs. It's going to go through this center, like above that, through that center. You're going to wrap it around the bottom, and then you're going to tie it off. So we're going to take it and we're going to tie it. And I try to pull that pretty tight. And then you just take it and you pull it off your little legs, and you've got your bow. Ta-da! All right, so now I need another mini glue dot. And this time it's going to kind of go on top of this edge right there. So it's kind of got a double little bow or double glue dot to kind of help hold this bow in place. Now, the trick to this bow is that you need it to kind of go more to the side, but then you want to make sure that it covers all of that mini glue dot. Whoops, let me work on this a little bit. So I'm going to kind of shift that a little bit so it covers that. Because normally what happens is you use these legs to come down and help cover some of that glue dot, which I think we can on this side. Actually, I think that's going to work. Okay, so then there's our bow, and I'm just going to come in and I am going to, whoopsie, snip that side. I may even want this to be a little bit shorter so that that M kind of shows through. And then I'm going to snip this side to kind of match that side. And then what I'm going to do is bring in one more mini glue dot. And I'm going to put it on the back side of this little banner. And I'm going to kind of curve this up a little bit to give it some dimension there. So can you see how that gave that some dimension by putting that little glue dot right there? All right. So what are you guys thinking so far? Definitely avid, right? Because I'm adding so much stuff to it. Okay, so for the inside, we're going to be fairly simple. We're just going to come down in this bottom corner, and we are going to grab the evening evergreen again. And grab that little leaf one. And I'm just going to try to catch this corner with a few of those leaves. And if you don't like the fact that it leaves like a bare spot there, you can come in like I just did and add a little bit more in the bottom. So, and then I'm kind of looking at this. So now I'm kind of thinking, maybe we need to bring it up on this edge a little bit. But do you see how I'm just kind of inking up the side that I need? Like not the whole stamp. There we go. I like that better. So I just kind of added in some leaves down there. And then I'm going to need that real red again. Let me clean this. Oh, I'm so sad I'm not seeing any comments and stuff because you guys aren't here. Hopefully when this gets posted on the YouTube channel, you guys will make some comments and I'll see them later. And then we have this really cute little sentiment in this set that, let me ink it up. It's like a baby sentiment, but it says, of course, that says, making spirits bright, a very Merry Christmas to you. So we're going to just get that and then try to get this little tiny stamp centered. I think smaller stamps are harder to center than bigger stamps. Then we're going to clean that off. Get that out of the way, push all of this out of the way. Trying to clean my space here. All right, get this out of the way. And then my arm keeps getting caught on something. It's the little Post-it notes that I use when I'm using dies. They've managed to multiply down here. All right, so then we're just going to take that. That's going to be the inside of your card. Like so. And there you go. 2 really fun cards. See, look at that. Isn't that fun? So, you know, a little shaker card. And I love, you know, like I said, adding just, you know, cutting pieces out and adding dimension. This is why it's called avid stamping, because you just kind of keep adding layer after layer after layer. Oh, and this is that, shoot. It's like that textured specialty paper. It comes in kind of like a darker blue, like maybe a Night of Navy, and then it has this soft succulent, and then it also has a blushing bride color in it. So, and I can't think of the name of it right now. So sorry, guys. Let me see if I have it right here. It is the brush stroke. The brush stroke specialty paper is what that is. So, and I should have said that when I was first introducing the card. All right, so let's move this. Let's bring in our first card, our second card. I know I only did 2 tonight, but I was trying to stay within I've been kind of going over because I've been doing 3 cards. But what do you guys think? I hope you guys love this set. Again, it's one of those sets. It's on page 63 of the catalog. It's one of those sets that you look at and you're like, what am I going to do with it? Well, hopefully I've given you a good idea of what you can do with this set. All right. And then don't forget, you can get this punch, which is the vintage bottle punch. And that punch works perfectly with this one. Plus it coordinates with the bottled happiness that is in the annual catalog. So yay, all done. So anyway, I'm so sorry for those of you that were trying to get on Facebook and it like crashed. I think it was my computer because everything on here seems to be recording fine. But, and those of you that always watch me on YouTube, you didn't have to worry about that. So I appreciate everybody's time. I'm so glad you were here with me tonight. I hope I taught you a new way to look at this particular stamp set and you guys will consider, purchasing this set. It is the Vintage Christmas. And that's the item number. And again, I'm going to do one more quick picture of the cards that we did tonight. This one was simple stamping. This one is avid. It's got a little bit more dimension and fun stuff that we did with that one. All right, guys, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope I taught you something. Everybody have a good night, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye.